You're good. And we are live. Welcome to this edition of Wealthy Wednesday. Oh my goodness, I am so fired up. Just got a LinkedIn audio event. Oh my goodness, it's going to fire. You guys got to join me 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time before I do this live event. And well, my name is Leah Garcia, financial strategist and insurance professional. And my mission is to help you properly protect, distribute, and transfer your wealth. Because if we want to build a legacy and leave generational and multi-generational wealth, it comes with strategic planning using a team-based model. I always say, I don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I just need to know the smartest person in the room. And when you're working with the team, I have the ability to leverage that. And being able to do that is so much fun. It allows me to be creative, and really I feel it's really my calling and my mission. So with that being said, today it's not about me. However, today it is about my incredible guest. She is one of the first people that I met on LinkedIn audios. She truly is. I heard her speak and she just resonated with me. We had a coffee chat, and boy, I'm telling you, it was fire, golden nugget after golden nugget. And I think her golden nuggets just follow her. And she said something that is one of my favorite quotes. And I say it all the time. I give her credit for it. However, I don't know, I'm kind of making it my own now. But she said, you know what? We as women, we're not meant to be in the box. We're meant to break through and jump on top of the box and jump up and down and celebrate on that box. And so I just truly believe that. And she is truly a woman who is celebrating on top of that box. We know her as the holistic transformational coach. She specializes in breath work and a workshop facilitator and so much more. Please give it up and give an incredible round of applause for the amazing Miss Brenda-Lise Acosta.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, and we all should step on top of the box and claim it. That's our role in life. I think through life, we are kind of like society, culture, other people's expectations of us. They kind of move us in a specific direction. But it's up to us to say, stop, enough. It's my time now, and take over the control of it and enjoy it. That's what we're meant to do in this life. We're meant to evolve and have fun, not just follow what other people tell us to do.
Wow. I love that. You're already dropping wisdom. I love that, because I think that I know for me, I can speak for me, and maybe this is not true for a lot of people, but I know for me, I've had to evolve into that power. I think that oftentimes, and I'm just going to say, generally, a lot of times as women, we take on so many other people's energy. We want to be there and do everything for our children. And that's wonderful. I was a stay-at-home mom for 19 years. I loved it. I didn't work. I didn't have a paid job, right? But I took care of my kids. I was a room mom, the team mom, the bake sale, all of that. And I loved every minute of it. But everything was about my kids, right? I didn't have a lot of things that I did for myself. We take care of our spouses. We take care of our parents. We take care of our relatives. We're the matriarchs of the family. And oftentimes it's easy for us to get, I say, lost in the sauce like a meatball, and we lose who we are. And why that resonates so deeply with me, Brenda-Lise, is because when I was going through my divorce, and I went out for a cup of coffee with a friend, and the question he asked me, I didn't think it was a trick question, but it absolutely was for me. He said, "What kind of coffee do you like?" And I literally went, "I have no idea." I mean, that sounds so minor, but I truly had no idea. Why? Because I had taken on other people's things. And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying it's what I took on. And I really got lost in the sauce. I really didn't know. And so making those decisions sometimes can be difficult. And at the same time, it takes some reflection of really figuring out who we are. So give me what do you think about that?
For me, It was when I left my corporate career. So I've been in corporate for over 24 years.
Right.
And I lost my job. It was part of a restructuring. I don't keep it quiet. I am very vocal about it. And during that time that I first, it was like, what do I do with my days? Was the first thing that was the challenge for me. I needed to refine myself because waking up in the mornings didn't look the same that it used to look for the last 24 years. Even having lunch didn't look the same because I was having lunch daily either at my cube, or I didn't like, I would bring my own lunch, or I would go to the cafeteria with people. But even having lunch was different. And I think when you mentioned like even going for the coffee, like there were so many things in my day to day that were just because that's what it was. That's what I've been trained and accustomed to do for the last 24 years. And then it was like, okay, so who am I now? How do I know and refine myself to the point where I know what are the things that make me smile? Because for a while, I would say the first 2 months out of the job, it wasn't hard because I kept myself very busy, because I kept myself, okay, let's go on vacation. I went crazy and I spent all my points that I had acquired over time. And I went on vacation for almost 2 months. And I was basically not home I was home in total for, I would say, probably 10 days out of 60 days. So that will tell you how I went crazy to get out there and kind of recharge myself. And it wasn't as hard because I was in constant movement. But when I came back home to settled and I had to apply for jobs and now I had to fall into a routine, it was difficult. It was refining myself. It was refining the joy in the things I was doing every single day. So yes, it resonates with me 100%. I think when we go through change, when we go through life, we don't realize the power that our environment has around us, and it's huge. It's huge. It drives our thinking. It drives our feelings. It drives the way we behave. It drives who we are, who we become.
I think that things can become so automatic when the people in your proximity will make those decisions for you,
Mm-hmm.
that it's kind of easier. It's a set it and forget it. So I'm not blaming my former spouse or anything like that. I relinquished that power. It was
Mm-hmm.
easier. He made the decision and I just kind of went with it. But when I had to make that decision, it was suddenly like I had no idea. And I was literally lost there at Starbucks. But in any case,
Even the most simple thing,
yeah.
dressing, how you would dress. I think like I mean, I haven't gone through a divorce, but even the way we dress, it's because of the environment where we are. For me, dressing after I lost my job, it was like, okay, I don't need to wear these clothes. I never was a fancy dresser, but I don't need to wear like these clothes to fit into a corporate environment. Now I can dress however I want.
That is so big. And I'm glad that you said that because it was really that. It was so many details that it almost can be, and I'm not saying I was traumatized, but it can almost feel traumatic
Mm-hmm.
because now suddenly it's up to you. There
Absolutely.
aren't these other influences. And so I really had to decide, what do I really like? And that might seem for a lot of people like a very easy decision, but when you have so many options, when you haven't had them, it can be overwhelming. And so it definitely was a process for me. And it's probably still a process. I was married for a long, long time. So let me ask you, Brenda-Lise, when you have people who come to you and they're
Mhm.
feeling that they've come from corporate and now they're becoming entrepreneur, solopreneur, they're starting their own business, their own company, You shared one of the transitions, which is their new rituals, habits, and routines, right? They're accustomed to that employer saying, you have to be here at this time, punch the clock, this is break, this is what time you're done, and this is, all those rules. How do you kind of help people kind of unpack that?
Yeah, I think I I feel that when you're doing such a big transition and going from corporate to becoming a founder or an entrepreneur, however we want to call it, it all begins with the mindset. And it also begins with, and I think it varies so much per person because it depends on why you did the jump. Some people do the jump 100% voluntarily. Other people, like me, life forces you into a specific position, and then all of a sudden you're like reinventing yourself, right? Other people do it because that's what they want to do, and they've wanted to do it all along. So the reason what brought you to that change, right, that transformation, transition, it's going to be different for everybody. However, it doesn't matter what the reason is. At the end, there's a detoxing that needs to happen from the corporate world to the entrepreneurial world, because it's about like acknowledging what are the key things that you learn through your career that are going to build you and become a better entrepreneur, but at the same time acknowledging all the things that and all the beliefs and all the way you saw the world when you were in corporate that will no longer serve you in as an entrepreneur. And I could tell you that what brought you into success as a corporate career will give you some success as an entrepreneur, but it won't give you all the success. There's a whole bunch of new skills that you have to acquire. There's the mindset itself, it's completely different. If you come into entrepreneurship with the same mindset that you had as a corporate professional, where you get a paycheck every 15 and 30, where your benefits are taken care of you, like everything is already, like there's so many things you don't worry about, right? And you bring that same belief into the entrepreneurial world, it's gonna be harder. So I encourage people to, number one, find your why you're doing this, and make sure that why is connected into your soul purpose. And second is to declutter, detox, and reset your mindset so you can actually embrace entrepreneurship in a very different way. And I had the blessing of being able to do that right before I step into entrepreneurship. So I was very confused. I wanted entrepreneurship, but I was filled with fears and anxiety and doubt, and you name it, I had it. But it wasn't until I went to my actual own individual breakthrough that I was able to let go of that and then reshift my focus and actions so they would be more in alignment to where I needed to be. And that for me was the big game changer. And I think more people should experience that.
That's so, so good. I kind of want to unpack a few things.
Yes.
I see a lot of people who have the desire, whether it's voluntary or not, you kind of shared that, but now they want to become their own boss in some form or fashion. And they research, they get the logo, they get the website, they do all these things. They've got the product, they've got a podcast, they've got a workbook, they've got all this stuff, but they don't put in the infrastructure. They don't even think about, gosh, I have to get my health insurance. This is on my side. What do I do with that old 401k? Do I leave it there? What options are there? Do I start a new 401k? Like, what about my emergency fund? Like, can I pull money out from my 401k? Should I pull out money from my 401k? What does that kind of look like? So that's absolutely should be part of the foundation when you're doing all those other aspects of setting up your business, is looking at those benefits. What is going to replace it, what it's going to cost you. And by the way, don't forego that conversation. You have to put those benefits in place. And the other
Absolutely.
the other part that I love that you said was you had to declutter, you had to detox fear and anxiety and doubt. So, what are some steps if somebody is feeling that they
Mhm.
either have already started their own business, they fired their boss, is what I called it, or maybe they're thinking about it? What are some things that maybe one or two steps that they can think about when it comes to that process? Because maybe they love their job and they don't even think it's invisible to them. They don't even think that they would need to go through this process. Or maybe they hate their job and they're just like, I want to fire this boss, and they
Mhm.
think it's going to be all rainbows and butterflies. So what are maybe a couple of steps they should think about for that detoxing process?
So I would say one thing I missed was the unworthiness. So for a long time, even though I knew I had the capabilities, I felt very unworthy of what the success could look like for me because I may not have been an entrepreneur for a long period of time. And that was something I had to deal with. Now, the way I work with my clients is very unique. I usually start with an intensive where we go deep into what is it that is causing you, right, to believe what you believe. And we unpack belief system, we unpack emotions tied into those belief system, we unpack which of all the beliefs is the greater one, that it's the one that is driving your actions in your other beliefs, right? Because I part from the premise that we have a core belief system, right? And then we have sub beliefs that are tied into our core belief system. And for the most part, the bigger problem is coming from our core belief system, and we're not consciously aware. So for me, it's about making sure that you're asking yourself the right questions to get you to that point where you realize what is that core belief that is driving your actions. And I would say it's about resolving that conflict. So I talk about it as a 4-step process. The first step being where we actually let go of all the limited beliefs or of all that inner conflict. And let's say uh, we believe that part of us wants to do something, but a part of us is battling with something else. We resolve that. It's all about identifying all that conflict with our values. A lot of people underestimate that our values drive a big portion of our actions. And it's about identifying all that inner conflict and resolving. So that for me is step one. Step two, then it's all about ensuring that you have a goal, that it's enticing, that you have a clear vision of who is it that you are and who is it that you want to become, not just now, but 5 or 10 years down the road. So it's about having that vision of who do you want to be. So from a career point of view, how what's your wealth going to look like? What is your environment you're going to work at look like? Who are the people that you're surrounding yourself? How's your spirituality tying into your career? How is your mental state going to be 10 years down the road, and linking it from a career standpoint? How are you going to be able to manage your emotions? How does your physical body react? It's about looking at the 4 dimensions of your body and basically being able to write down what that looks like 10 years down the road. Having that vision. So that's number two. Number one, it's conflict and letting it go. Number two, it's about having that vision. Number three, it's about making sure that you're taking the actions. Now, number one and two, I guide people very closely. Number three and four are part more of the coaching component of the work I do. And that's where it's about accountability. But the person needs to own the actions. If the person is not 100% in, it's the person can let go, can create the vision of who they want to be. But if they don't take the actions, they're going to fall short. And then the last component of it, it's making sure that you're constantly moving towards. I think a big mistake that a lot of us make, and I say us because I've done it and I'm very self-aware where I still may do it every now and then, is that we focus constantly on running away from things. And if you want to really embrace entrepreneurship, if you want to really embrace the life that you are envisioning, it's not about running away, but it's moving towards the things that fulfill you. It's moving towards the things that are going to help you achieve what you desire, right? So those four things: letting go, then having that, establish that compelling future, making sure that you take actions and that you're constantly progressing towards what you desire. And I call it the LEAP process. L for letting go, E for establishing the vision, A for taking the actions, and the P is for constantly progressing towards what you desire.
Wow, wow, wow. That was worth the price of admission. I hope you took a lot of notes. And we have the incredible Mr. Jones from Hello LLC. He said, love the accountability. That is key. I totally agree with you. So on point. That's a secret sauce. It's those daily actions. In karate, we call it kaizen. It's those little, seemingly little steps that over time have huge results. And that's where we actually get compound interest and compound pounding. You might think compound interest only has to do with money. No, it has to do with anything. It has to do with everything we do. If we do something that's serving us or not serving us. I agree with you, Mr. Jones. That was fire. That was amazing. I'm glad this was recorded so you can go back and rewind that and unpack it for you. It's so key. And one thing I kind of want to touch on here, and if you have any questions, Mr. Jones, for the amazing Brenda-Lise, I'd love to hear if you have some questions for her. She's the answer girl. She's got the answers. I know she does. Go ahead, Brenda.
I was going to say that as you were speaking about all of this and the wealth and the compound interest, think of it from an energy point of view, right? Everything in life, even money and wealth, is energy, right? And it's all a reflection of who we are, right? So if I'm doing the things constantly avoiding and moving away from things, that's the energy I'm bringing into the table. And that energy is probably not going to be in alignment with the energy of wealth, right? And it's all compounded because at the moment you begin to shift the energy, you begin to get more in alignment and congruent with who you are, then it's a ripple effect. And that's where the compound effect comes into place, because now what used to be, I need to be constantly pulling myself to recharge myself. Now it's going to come more naturally. And now the results are going to be more exponential. So yes, but think of it from an energy point of view, because we are energy, right? And at the end of the day, money is energy, and everything is a reflection of our energy state.
That's so good. I love it. And Mr. Jones says, by the way, he's David Jones, okay, the CEO. I just have to call him Mr. Jones because Ms. Tara always introduces him as Mr. Jones. So he's Mr. Jones to me. And I call him actually Mic Drop Mr. Jones, by the way. He said, change your energy, change your world. Absolutely.
100%.
100%. And this is something I see so often when it comes to entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners. You know, they do all this work to create this business, and then they are putting on the gas and the brake at the same time. They're doing all the work. They're doing the hustle. They're getting up late. They're staying up late. They're going without food, but then they're doing things to push away. Oh, the money. I don't feel comfortable charging. I don't want to tell them the price because it's too, I don't want to raise my prices because then they have that lack mindset. And remember this too. They come from an employee mindset, which is completely different. You alluded to it as an entrepreneur mindset. An employee mindset is linear. Step by step. You get a promotion to get a raise, to get another promotion, to get a raise, and that's how it goes, incremental. Entrepreneur is explosive. You can literally go from zero to hero. But by the way, you need to have the infrastructure and the foundation. The infrastructure is what? It's the mindset. The financial foundation is what gets people tricked up. They didn't put in the foundation. They didn't set their business up properly. DBA, what do they call it? They're doing it as DBA. Mr. Jones, help me with this. It's escaping me. Sole proprietor. They're a sole proprietor. Now they're making $250,000 and they have no idea how much exposure and taxes they're paying on top of that. But anyway, that's my little rant right there.
But you're right, Leah. You're right. So let's split this into components. So when you come into entrepreneurship, of course, there's the mindset, there's the infrastructure and processes, and a lot of people I've seen it a lot happen. They want to go, they grow their business too fast, and then they don't realize that they never thought about the infrastructure. Now, I would rather have that problem where I grow my business fast and then I have the capital and I'll solve everything else. However, at the same time, you have to prepare. When you go into entrepreneurship, you have to prepare yourself and think strategically from a point of what's my starting point? What is it that I need so I don't over design myself and stop myself from seeing the benefits of being an entrepreneur? So what is the bare minimum that I need to be efficient and still bring in the money, right? And then what would be my second step, which would be like, maybe it's not even a scaling up. It's like basically just, okay, now I'm bringing the money in. Now, what are the other steps that I need to take to build my business more, have a stronger foundation? And then what would be my scaling plan? But a lot of people go into it without even thinking about that. And I'm not saying you have to go in and write a 20-page strategic plan. What I'm saying is just sitting down, envisioning, where do you see yourself? How long are you going to be in the creation mode? How much are you going to be in the implementation mode? How long are you going to be in the scaling up mode, right? And when you see it that way, now you're preparing yourself. Now you're already seeing the signs. Okay, you know what? I'm getting to a point where I'm getting to the maximum I said I was going to earn in my implementation phase. Now I need to start to think about scaling up, or what is the next infrastructure that I need. When you do that, you prepare yourself for success. But when you jump just saying, I'm going to do this, then you're going to receive so many roadblocks that you're going to frustrate yourself. So I do believe, don't over-engineer it, but at the same time, don't under-engineer it. There's art into the design, right? I hear a lot of peers that say, I'm not ready to launch my business. I'm not ready. I don't have everything perfect. Nope. You have the idea. You have to test it. There's different stages of it. Test it. See what you can bring out of it. Move on. But don't stop yourself until perfection is there, because if you do, then you're not going to bring the capital in, and then you're going to get frustrated. But at the same time, I have a lot of people that say, oh, I'll take care of that tomorrow. No, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan, because at the end of the day, there's certain things you're going to meet. Mr. Tax is going to follow you no matter what. We get sick. It's normal. It's part of the human experience. That will pass a bill, that will come, it will come fiercely and find you, right? So yeah, it's about creating the balance. And I'm sorry I'm speaking so much.
Oh, that was so good. I told you guys this is going to be fire. Mr. Jones says, oh, you are coming now. Most people are waiting. Absolutely. One of the biggest nations in the world is procrastination. So we're not saying don't do it. What we're saying is put in that infrastructure, put in the financial foundation, which, by the way, download my free ebook, The Wall of Wealth. You have to know where you're going. Whenever I sit down with somebody and they're thinking of starting a business, or even if they've had a business for years, I ask them, what is their exit plan? And they look at me like I have three eyeballs. We have to begin with the end in mind. How are you going to exit this business? How are you going to properly monetize it? Are you going to sell it? Are you going to get a partner? Are you going to train somebody at someday to take it over? Are you going to franchise? Are you going to go into the Hello LLC Plaza and the metaverse and have it run for you passively? Like, what does that look like? And maybe you don't have that complete answer now, but you need to start asking yourself those questions, and then we can reverse engineer it. And what does that mean? Does that mean that you have a 20,000 page financial plan? No. It means that you know where you're going. Without a vision, our people what? They perish. Okay. That's why 80% of businesses are out of business within the first 5 years. They had an idea, but they never had a true vision for their business, what they were going to do. And you said it, Brenda Leese, you alluded to it. Mr. Uncle Sam is there as your partner.
So one of the things I love to do with my clients, Leah, is I love to create an avatar, but not of their niche, not of their clients, but of themselves. I want them to create an avatar of who they want to be 5 or 10 years down the road, because when you and when we created it as if today is 5 or 10 years down the road, because this way they are able to tap into their emotions. They're able, when you tap into your emotions, you change your vibration, you change your energy level. And that for me is the favorite thing to do with my clients, is get them into a state where they can see the possibilities. And then instead of going forward and saying, okay, I want to have, I'm just randomly going to say a number, a $5 million business, right? That's my ultimate goal. Then what do I need to do today? Bum, bum, bum. No, I go the other way around. I go, okay, you want the $5 million business. You want to be this person you want to be. How do you embody yourself 5 or 10 years down the road, right? Let's see that. Let's tap into the emotions. Let's tap into the feelings, and then let's walk backwards. Because when you walk backwards, you're not in your own way. And I love to create action plans for my clients by guiding them to walk backwards from 5, 10 years down the road, all the way until the now. Now you're not overthinking the actions. Now you can see things, and then we come back and fill in the gaps. But yes, having that vision, feeling into that vision, hear what you hear, see what you see, feel what you feel. When that moment happens, leave it as if it already happens. It's really important.
That is such another mic drop. I got to tell you, that scientifically is correct. So I refer to that as reverse engineering.
Absolutely.
Begin with in mind, and now you're going to retrace your steps. What does that require? That $5 million business, how did you break that down? Let's say you make $1,000 per client. Reversing back, how many clients does that mean? And how do you have that client acquisition? So I love that. That speaks.
But even it goes further, because when you walk the client out, okay, you ask the questions. What's the infrastructure you need for this milestone? What is the type of things that you need in place? Okay, let's put them down. Now, how do you know you got there? Okay, let's take a look back, right? And that's kind of the way. It's about looking at it from a holistic point of view, from all the dimensions point of view. And I think one of the biggest things I have seen is that when we start with that vision and then come backwards, it's so much easier for the people to achieve their results. I had a client, I think it was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. She reached out to me and she said, Brenda, you're not going to believe, I was looking at my avatar and my goal, the goal. She set up her avatar for 5 years, and she set up her goal for actually a year long goal, right? And she said, it's only been less than 3 months and I'm already 90% to the goal. Because of the way we did it, she wasn't in her own mind fighting what the goal was going to be, but she saw the possibilities of it, and she ingrained those possibilities in herself. So yes, it's possible.
Yeah, that's so good, because a lot of people don't know that we have like over 90,000 thoughts in a day. And
Oh yeah,
90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we had the day before.
yesterday. Mm-hmm.
So when we do things in reverse, it creates new synapses, new pathways
Absolutely.
in our brain. And that opens up space for other opportunities that we couldn't even imagine. So I love that. That is genius. Man, I told you guys this was going to be fire. Go ahead.
So one of the things I do with them is I take them, like once we create this vision and this goal, I have a very unique technique that I use where we put this into the future and we allow, like we energize it, we put the emotions, we put everything. After the person wrote it down, we actually drop it into the future. And right after that session, the first thing I ask them is, what's the first step you need to take now, today, within the next 24 hours to demonstrate and show your mind that you're on that path? Because one of the things that ends up happening is people put this amazing goal, but they don't take that first action. And that first action gets you to take the second action and the third action. So one of the things is making sure, for anybody who's listening, if you're falling short on your goals, make sure that immediately you set up that goal, you take that first action. And then the second thing I would encourage is, if you're not meeting your goals, if you're not able to say, my business is running the way I want it, my wealth is not where I want it to be, then look at your belief system, because your belief system drives a big portion of your actions, most of your actions. Your belief system, together with your values, are what drives most of the actions you take and the results you get on a daily basis. And a lot of these values is something that changes through life, but our belief system gets ingrained to us basically from the moment we're conceived to the moment we turn around 5, 6, 7 years old. So yes, we don't necessarily recognize that, and that's part of what stops us from living and getting the results that we desire.
Absolutely. Mr. Jones says this is a great conversation. He says, press the button and believe. Absolutely. I love that. So many golden nuggets. And it really comes down to, in my mind, what I am hearing you saying, it comes down to our self-worth, right? Our identity. And if we don't raise our identity, we don't understand our self-worth, which is different than confidence. Confidence is fleeting. I could be a confident speaker or a confident, let's say, football player, or confident in a skill that I've acquired. But as soon as I drop that ball in the end zone, my confidence can come down. As soon as I get in to be a public speaker and then I mess up I forget my speech or something, my confidence can wane. But our self-worth, our identity is ingrained in us. So that is so much fire. That was great.
And what I would add, Leah, is about the way I like to explain it to people is, think that, and I know I'm mixing a couple of things here and there, but think about, if you're not achieving your goals, right? Think about your mind being a room, right? And let's say you have the vision of that room being, let's say you have a very cluttered room in your house, right? And you want that room to be your spa, your place to retreat. You want it to be your men's cave or your woman's cave, whatever it is that you want that room to be, right? What's the thing? When you open the door, you see all the clutter the room has, you close the door and you walk away because you can't see the possibilities, right? So the same way with our mind, we want to set a goal. We want to say consciously, this is where I want to be. However, our behaviors take us on a completely different path, because our unconscious behaviors is what drives our actions, right? So at the end of the day, we go on this completely different path. How do we get both together? Declutter your mind, declutter that room. Once you declutter that room, then you can see the possibilities of what that room can give you. And then once you see the possibilities, you bring the new. You bring the new painting, you the new flooring or the new rug, or you bring the new furniture. Now you bring in the new. The same thing. You declutter your mind. Now you need to bring the new actions, the new behaviors, the new habits, the new beliefs that are going to shape your actions going forward. And then finally, once you have everything decluttered, you can see the possibilities. You can enjoy the room. You can achieve your goals because the clutter that was there, that was not allowing you to see beyond your comfort zone, right? Beyond your limitations, that clutter is no longer there. So the key is getting rid of that clutter, resolving that conflict so you can open your mind and see the possibilities, like you saw the new possibilities of the clutter room. You're mute.
That's so good. That's so good. And what came to me is a visual of hoarders. Like, I don't watch TV, but I've heard about this, where I saw this clip. It was just mind boggling. People have all this clutter and they just kind of live through it and stuff. And if they could step back and see what it would look like without the clutter, then I think that it would give them a lot more encouragement to really declutter. So if I put that vision in my mind, that my mind is cluttered like that, and that vision of what it will look like afterwards with the fresh paint and furniture, that's a great, great visual. I love that, Brenda Lee. So, so good.
So think about it. You now have a vision. Now you create. Now you can start to take action because you can see the possibilities. A lot of the times we know what we want, but there's so much baggage between where we are and where we want to be that does not allow us to see beyond. And that's where the healing process, the inner healing process is so important. And I know we were going to talk about breath. We haven't talked about
breath. We're going to talk about breath. We're going to talk about breath. This has just been so good. Tons of golden nuggets, tons of wisdom. Now, I was going to touch on that because really I feel like that's an introduction. It's a great way for people to get to know you. Doing your breath work class, I took it. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved the group. I loved the visualization. I loved your voice. It was just all so decadent, is what I would say. And my favorite part was, well, I'm not going to spoil it for people, but I would say, what is your favorite part? You're going to have a favorite part because it is a process. So tell us about your breath work classes. I know that you do them very, very often. We see them advertised. I think it's a great way for people to get introduced to you. So tell us about those classes and workshops.
So I do two types of breath work. I do what I call up-regulating journeys and down-regulating journeys. Down-regulating is, for example, things that are going to help us become more calm, more cool and collected. Like I do a lot of short techniques that help us recenter ourselves very quickly. Those for me are down-regulating journeys. Normally, the down-regulating journey, the inhale is shorter than the exhale. So what it does is actually it initiates your parasympathetic system, right? It allows you to calm down. So that's one of the things that I do. I do that constantly with my clients. I do it in rooms, audio rooms, all of that. Like, these are short techniques that allow us to shift immediately and kind of like allow the noise that it's around us to kind of dim and allow us to reshift and refocus, right? Now, the up-regulating journeys, which is what you experience, is a journey that it's designed to activate your body's own healing power. And it basically sends you more on a sympathetic system, like where you now become more on the flight. Yes, I can't get the word out of my mouth today. Yes, it activates the sympathetic system, which is what protects our body in one way or another, and we kind of like create an energy burst in our body, right? So we start to shift energy through our body, and that's what you experience. So through that, what it does is it allows that stuck energy that it's within your body to start to shift and move. And it's proven that our body holds into trauma. It's within our body. So by doing these types of techniques, you're able to move that energy. And a lot of people walk out of these sessions feeling that they're now empowered. They feel like things that were holding them back is no longer holding them back. Because what we do through the technique is we kind of bypass the critical thinking mind, the critical factor, which is where we try to control our thoughts, our body falls into a pattern that basic and a rhythm, and your mind is no longer in control. Your body is the one in control. It's kind of a really cool experience. So yes, I do those separately, and I do most of those in group sessions. And I'm going to be launching the Breath Circle. It's official. It's launching. All the promotion, it's going to be going out in June. However, I'm doing a pilot in June too. So I'm still have spaces available for people who want to be part of the Breath Circle. It's just a 1 month program. It's 2 breathwork journeys. One it's going to be self-love, and the other one I think it's might be on a letting go or something like that. I haven't chosen the second one yet. And then we're going to have hypnosis to help people integrate between sessions. So they're going to be able to experience self-hypnosis, which is very powerful, and it's going to be supporting the journey that the person is going to experience. So one for sure is going to be self-love, and there's going to be a self-hypnosis on self-love that you can do for the next 14 days. So we'll meet twice during the month, and then in between you'll have the self-hypnosis. Well, actually we'll meet 3 times, but because we'll have a closing. But it will be just 2 breath work sessions, follow each session with supporting process to help you continue to integrate. I love it. I think most people say, oh, shoot, I didn't realize how powerful this felt. And I think a lot of people, without giving too much away, there's a couple of things that happen through the journey. And yes, people have big releases during the sessions.
Yeah, that's so good. And Mr. Jones says, awesome. I agree. It's a great introduction. And, self-hypnosis, I love, love, love that. That's been a real core foundation for me, is just creating those new messages, right? Decluttering, letting go, releasing those old broken records and replacing them, because we don't get rid of habits. I just believe we create new ones, right? We have to replace them. So this has been an incredible conversation, Miss Brenda Lees. I knew that you were going to bring a ton of value. You have so much wisdom. So we're kind of winding down here. What is the one thing that you could tell with people that work with you? What's the outcome that they could expect when they work with you?
I think the first outcome that they will experience, and this happens within the first 2 sessions that we work together, is that they're gonna get a big sense of clarity of who they are. Like, they're gonna know deep inside how to trust better their intuition, and they're gonna be able to tap into the answers within themselves. The second thing I would say is all those things that drive our actions, all those things that are holding you back, it's like you're gonna be replacing them by new actions that are gonna help you achieve the things you desire. So a higher sense of worthiness, like huge higher sense of worthiness. I'm more confidence in yourself for sure. And I would say people tend to accelerate their results because of the way and the methodology I follow. They can accelerate their results. So something that could take you normally over a year to accomplish, you would be able to see the benefits in a shorter period of time. That's why I normally work with clients for a 4-month period, and normally for one area of life. So if they want more areas of life, that's perfectly fine. We can do more, but we can work in one area of life for a 4-month period, and you will see a huge transformation.
That's huge. And Mr. Jones said, so true. Ease the weight from your mind. Absolutely. That decluttering process is so huge. And, we all want to get to that next level. That's why we're working so hard. So if you want to get yourself to that next level, but you just feel that something's holding you back, you can't really identify it, I think it sounds like it would be a great opportunity Brenda Lise is so approachable. Reach out to her, DM her. And what is some of the best ways for people to connect with you, Miss Brenda Lise? Where can they find you?
So I think LinkedIn is my go-to place. I have audio rooms every Friday at noon. Specifically, I call it the Women's Circle. So people are welcome to join me there, ask questions, come up stage, share their knowledge, their experience, their life, like their own difficulties that they're experiencing, right? That's a one place where they will find me. Oh, like I have skipped a couple of Fridays, but that's okay. For the most part, I'll be all Fridays Eastern time at noon there. Also, I'm really approachable. Send me messages through LinkedIn. I'm easily approachable there. People can also see me in BEYOU with Brenda Lise, BU with Brenda Lise. .com, which is kind of like a landing page, and it will get you directly to booking a session with me. And I'll be sharing so much more on the breath circle, because is for me, I see the breath circle as that first step of people who have been thinking about investing in themselves and they don't know what working on themselves looks like. The breath circle is going to get you that first level, or it could accelerate your results depending on where you are in your transformation. So yes, absolutely. What I want to make sure is people realize and recognize that we all have the power within ourselves to be who we want to be. The only person stopping us from getting there is ourselves.
That's right. That's so true.
It's not our parents, it's not our significant other, it's not, because that then you're giving others the power. The power is within ourselves. The only person limiting us is ourselves. It's the actions that we're taking, it's the beliefs that we have.
Yeah, it's self-sabotage. I heard this quote. It says, "Every time I've been stabbed in the back, I find my own fingerprints on the knife."
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I actually had not heard that, but I like that. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna reuse that quote.
And Mr. Jones says he meant to say, "Release the weight from your mind." We knew we were picking up what you're putting down. You're good, Mr. Jones. And by the way, if you want to get rid of your old, dusty, crusty business card and website, you got to get into the metaverse. I need to update myself too. You touched on something that I'd like you to just touch a little bit more on. You said LinkedIn audio rooms. This is going out to other medias. Not everybody's on LinkedIn. I sent this out to my YouTube channel. What is a LinkedIn audio room, and how does that work? Do they have to pay? Like, what is that?
So LinkedIn is the platform where I'm most present from a business point of view. And I do, like, some people may be familiar with Clubhouse, right? It's very similar to Clubhouse. It's different. It's within the infrastructure of LinkedIn. And what I do is I have these events that are programmed in LinkedIn. An audio room is not recorded, which allows people to come in and be able to share more insights and be more vulnerable, because the events are not recorded, right? I do actually also have a live LinkedIn live that I do every other Monday, where I interview women who've done the transition from corporate to founder. And that one is actually goes live in LinkedIn, but at the same time gets streamed into YouTube and gets streamed into Facebook. So it's connected. So yeah, you can find me in Facebook, you can find me in Instagram, you can find me in YouTube. My audience of YouTube is not big yet, but it's at the same time, there's a plan to grow it. It's just not the priority at this point, but the recordings are there. I'm there.
Nice. Well, this has been a mic drop after mic drop, tons of note taking. I have so many great golden nuggets, and I appreciate you with your generosity, Brenda Lise. You're so giving and such a wealth of knowledge. And that's going to kind of shore it up for this Wealthy Wednesday. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have interactions with you, and I look forward to future endeavors. And so go ahead, Brenda Lise.
No. I was gonna say, and this is just random. If anybody's like thinking, okay, I'm not getting the results I desire, what's the first step I could do? We could do a quick, value assessment just to give you the clarity that you're looking for so you can kind of pinpoint what's driving your actions. I'm offering those for free. So if they're like between 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then we'll probably talk about next steps for then another 15 minutes. So an hour of my time where I could do this audit with you, and you will have much more clarity. So if you're looking for that, then just send me a message either in Instagram, and I'll put it in the comments. I'll go to your YouTube and put it in the comments, either in Instagram or Facebook or even LinkedIn, wherever you find me. That's perfectly fine. Nice. I am offering that. So
that's awesome. That is a very generous offer. Find out where you are. If you wanted to get from here to New York, what is the first question that you would have to ask? Where are you? Assess where you are so that you can see what that path is going to look like to where you're going to be. Well, that's it for this week's edition of Wealthy Wednesday. Again, my name is Leah Garcia, financial strategist and insurance professional. And my vision is to help you properly protect, distribute, and transfer your wealth so you can build a legacy and create generational and multi-generational wealth. Download my free ebook, The Wall of Wealth. It is my proprietary one-page financial plan, which will give you an idea of where you are and where those booby traps might be in your financial plan, those blind spots. And I'd love to help you shore those up. So that's it. We will see you all at the top because we all know it is way too crowded at the bottom. Thank you for joining us.